Greetings everybody. So in this class we'll be continuing with the microeconomics textbook of Daron, Acemoglu, David Leibson, John Elist. This is a part of the syllabus of the first 10 chapters of this particular book is the syllabus for economics major students of Delhi University semester 1. So in the last class we had discussed chapter 1, which was like an introduction for what is economics. Economics is a study of choices, study of human behavior. We studied what is optimization, what is equilibrium. Again we studied empiricism, that is to test the models or theories which are generated on the basis of equilibrium and optimization will actually match up with the human behavior. Will this theory created by economists actually match up with the human behavior? So for that, we will test these theories. We will analyze these models with data. That is called empiricism. Okay. So the scientific method is the same for ongoing process that economists and other scientists use to analyze the world. How do they analyze? They will develop models of the world. Then they will evaluate those models by testing them with data. Testing models with data enables economists to separate the good models. That is, the models which predicts most consistently with data, which matches up with human behavior, from the bad models. When a model is overwhelmingly inconsistent with data, economists try to fix the models or replace it altogether by cycling through the two steps, that is models that creating models and evaluating these models with data. Models that better explain past and partially predict future are created. Okay, we know the world is so complex. Because of that, no perfect model and no precise prediction can be made. Models just helps us to understand the world. Next is models and data. We know flat maps. Okay, flat maps and spherical globes are both models of the surface of Earth. But can we use these spherical globes when we travel from, for example, you are traveling from New Delhi to North Delhi, you can't carry a spherical globe with you to realize how the direction through which all routes you have to travel. For that you need to use the map, Google Map. Okay, most feasible option is Google Map. Okay, so a model is a simplified description of reality. The model cannot be a perfect replica of reality. It is just a simplified description of reality. Sometimes economists will refer to a model as a theory or a theory as a model. Interchangeably it can be called. Scientific models are used to predict that can be checked with empirical evidence. That is the models that can be predicted with evidence-based analysis or data. Empirical evidence consists of facts that are obtained through observation and measurement. That is data. Empirical evidence consists of facts that are obtained through data. When conducting empirical analysis, economists refer to a model's predictions as hypothesis. In coming semesters, you have hypothesis testing for your syllabus. It's very important. Okay. So when conducting empirical analysis, economists refer to a model's prediction as hypothesis. Whenever such hypotheses are contradicted by the available data, economists return to drawing board and like they try to come up with a better model that yields new hypothesis. Okay. So we can refer to an economic model. So this economic model is called return to education model. That is, how do the income of a human is affected by the education that he has attained. Okay, so here we are saying that each additional year of education causes your future wages to rise by 10%. That is multiply by 1 plus 0.10, that is 1.10. So if someone earns 150 rupees per day for 12 years of education, that is, a person has 12 years of education and he earns 150 rupees per day, that means with 13 years of education he can earn 165 rupees per day, that is 150 into 1.10 years. Sorry, 1.10. 150 into 1.10, 165 rupees per day. Okay, that is with each additional year of education, it is said that 10% of increase in wage. 10% of increase means multiplying your current wage by 1.10. Okay, like that you will get 165 rupees per day. That is 2 additional years can cause 21% total rise. That is 1.110 into 1.110, 1.21. 4 additional years can cause 1.46. That is 46% total rise. Again, but unlike the first 2 years, third year is the key line in your resume. That is where you're getting graduated. So the economic payoff is more on the third year. It's just an exception or just a twist or what to say, difference that we are studying here. Not all years affect your wage equally. Okay. That is, just a flat subway map is only an approximation of features of the city. The returns to education model is only mapping from years of education to wages. It is not giving the correct, accurate information, because the third year is more important amongst the 3 years of your graduation. Okay. Not all years contribute equally to your wage. Next we are studying about mean, that is average, sum of all different values divided by number of values, that is mean. Then median, that is calculated by ordering number of values from least to the greatest and then finding the value halfway through the list. Sorry. So here I have provided with some values, random values. So how we calculate the mean of these random values? Just add these random values, you will get 220. There are 7 values, so divided by the number of values 7. 220 by 7, you will get 31.42 some data. So that is the mean. And how we will calculate median? We will write these numbers in order of least to greatest. So in that we will get 31 as the middle number. So 31 as the median. Next is an argument by anecdote. It is not to be taken seriously. Okay. There is much more than education that determines your earnings, because Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg were Harvard dropouts, but they are the richest man of the world. So it's just an exception that I have that the textbook have given. So next is causation and correlation. So what is causation? As the name the literal meaning itself, that is the cause. When one thing directly affects another, cause to effect. That is cause to effect. One thing directly affects another. One variable causes another variable to change. Okay. One variable causing another variable to change. Oh, you know what? What to say? A variable is. Variable means a changing factor or a characteristic. When one changing factor causes the another changing factor. So, for example, temperature of water in a tea kettle. That is, when the heat increases, that is when the temperature increases, water's temperature also increases, that is when the heat in the stove top increases, or whatever, induction or anything. When the heat increases, the temperature in the water also increases. Cause to effect. Next is correlation. Correlation means we say causation as the path from cause to effect. Correlation means two variables tend to change at same time. Here in the causation, when the heat is stove is turned on, then only the water temperature starts rising. But in correlation, two variables tend to change at the same time. Correlation means that two variables tend to change at the same time. As one variable changes, the other changes as well. It might be cause and effect, but correlation can also rise when causation is not present. That is, there are some correlations where there is no connection between cause and effect. Now, the correlation between music lesson and SAT score. Any score. We are considering here the SAT score. There are three guesses. First one can be, so the thing here is that students who take music classes score high in SAT class, high in SAT, than students who do not take music classes. So here it is music classes, okay, not SAT. Just have a recheck on that. So why can this happen? Like, why the students who attend music classes score more in SAT other than the students who does not attend the music classes? Three guesses, three chances. The first one, students who play musical instruments have high level of general patience, thus practice long musical sessions and do well in class. Then, second chance, students with high level of general intelligence find musical instruments more appealing. Intelligence raise SAT score. Then students who play musical instruments have wealthier parents, so they can afford tuition classes. These are the three chances. So there are three types of correlation: positive, negative, zero. Positive correlation implies two variables tend to move in the same direction. Variables of income and marital status. People who are having higher income tend to have higher chances of marriage. It can also be vice versa. Then negative correlation implies two variables tend to move in opposite direction. If you are highly educated, then it is less chance of unemployment. If you are unemployed, it is less chance of you getting a seat for a post graduation, as you cannot afford the tuition fee. Then zero correlation. That is when variables have movements that are not related. Both the movements are not related. Your address on which lane of the street and your age has no connection. Zero correlation. Next is when correlation does not imply causality. So in above two cases, positive and negative, though they were correlated, there were some kinds of causes. We don't know if the cause to effect path or effect to cause path, there is nothing like that, but there were some kinds of causes. Here there are two main reasons we should not jump to the conclusion that the correlation between two variables implies a particular causal relationship. So that we can read on this omitted variables and reverse causality. So first, before that, there is an example in your reading, that is on red ads and blue ads. So the example goes like this: where it is red ads, when a particular firm does its campaign, all the advertisements in a red theme, the sale increases. But when their advertisements are in blue theme, their sale decreases. But with further analysis, it was clarified that the red themed advertisements were on Christmas time, Christmas vacation time. So the sale was increased not because of the theme red, but because of the vacation sale. Okay, so that is it has nothing to do with red and blue. The sale has nothing to do with red and blue colors of the advertisements. It is just because of the vacation sale. So here the first it was only in between the red ads and blue ads. The Christmas time was not known. The information of Christmas time was not known there. So we thought the sales were increased because of the red theme. So we were not known about the Christmas time, and that is the omitted variable. Christmas vacation time is the omitted variable where the sale increases. An omitted variable is something that has been left out of a study that, if included, would explain why two variables that are in the study are correlated. Okay. Then you have like the red color does not necessarily cause the store's sales to rise. The arrival of Christmas season causes both the store's ads to be red and month over month sales revenue to rise. Omitted variable is of Christmas season. Then you have reverse causality. It occurs when we mix up the direction of cause and effect. Wealthy people tend to be relatively healthier. So wealthy people can afford better healthcare, or relatively healthy people can afford, relatively healthy people can work more hard. So both is, the cause and effect are mixed up. Next is experimental economics and natural economics. So an experiment is a controlled method of investigating causal relationships among variables. Controlled method of investigating causal relationships among variables. To run an experiment, researchers usually create a treatment, that is a test group, and a control group. Control group means there is no treatment, they are not treated in a special way. Randomization is the assignment of subjects by chance rather than by choice to a treatment group or a control group, by chance, randomly. The treatment group and control group are treated identically, except along a single dimension that is intentionally varied across two groups. That is, if the purpose of the experiment is to know whether the students getting economic aid for study affects the education of those students. So two groups will be made, and in one group the students will be provided with economic aid, and in the next group the students will not be provided with economic aid. Okay, that is the variation. Intentionally varied, the economic aid to study. So that is the ultimate purpose of the experiment, to determine the impact of this variation. Okay. Problem with these experiments are, they are very costly. You need to provide the economic aid. You have so much to do here with money. Experiments do not provide immediate answers. You need to wait till these students graduate. Okay. Sometimes they can be run poorly. These experiments, this providing of economic aids, how these students study, that also matters, right? They can be run poorly. If we don't have the budget, time to run an experiment, we can we can identify cause and effect by studying historical data that has been generated by a natural experiment. So a natural experiment is an empirical study in which some process out of the control of experimenter has assigned subjects to control a treatment to control and treatment groups in a random or nearly random way. In many situations, natural experiments are only possible to draw conclusion. For example, how the general chooses villages to bomb. He cannot choose a particular village like we will bomb here only. No, he cannot. It will be randomly bombed. Right? So that is all about natural experiment, which will be caused or happened naturally. Other than the experiment that we studied first, it is a controlled method. Here it is a natural way. Okay. So that's all with the second chapter as well. And here In the 2.3 of this chapter is economic question and answers. There is nothing much. You can just study them. You can read it by yourself. And yeah, that's it. So have a nice day. Happy learning.